We are about to go live. Here we go. Very excited. Okay, here we go. We are trying out this new side of technology here. We've got Elena. Guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to have you here on Teen Quarantine. This show is all about stepping into your lives as teenagers during this challenging time and seeing what we can do to help you grow and stay motivated as we're stuck in our houses and locked down. This is a time to really figure out who we are and move towards our dreams and get excited about the time that we have to spend on ourselves. So we've got Elena here today. Elena's in our Tuesday script class. Super excited to have you. Hello, Elena.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day outside.
Beautiful day. All right, well, let's get right to it. Fill me in on you, where you're at right now.
Yeah, okay. So ever since we started being locked up in our house, I love reading. I don't know why, but I just have a sudden interest to finish a book, and I've had a book since I was 9 years old that I finished when I was halfway through, and I just finished it. I read it over again. And then ever since, I was just reading, getting new books. I've probably read 3 books in the past week. It's building up imagination, and that's really great. I try to take dogs for walks every day. It's good.
I'll stop there for a second, and then I want to hear about this dog thing. I want to start with the books. So you said starting about like a week ago, right? So is that about the time that for you had to start staying home?
No, I was a bookworm.
Okay.
For 2 months, but yeah, I've been stuck in my house for about that same time, 2 months.
About the same time? Okay. So no, that's good. So what is it about, like, you said recently, like very recently, you've decided to get excited about books and picking that up? So starting there, what inspired you to do that? Like, what was it that made you go, okay, instead of doing what I'm doing, let me change that up? What were you doing before, and what made you change it up and decide to start reading and growing in your knowledge?
Well, I was playing video games. I'm not that kind of girl that likes dolls. I was video games all the way, and I was just playing it all day. And I was not really the nicest person, but I was still decent. Like, if mom asked me to do something, I would complain about it. But ever since I stopped playing video games all day, I started reading books. And I thought that was so much more interesting because it builds up your imagination. And I just thought I used to get headaches from playing games all day, and your eyes would get red. It was just not good. Mm-hmm. So I saw a book on my shelf, and I said, oh, it's pretty interesting. I read the back of it. It was something I would like. So I read it, and then I really liked it. So I started reading even more books, and just more. And eventually I ran out of books. So we went to Target, got some more. Now I'm almost done with those. So we'll have to go back and get some more soon. But
that is so cool. Because I think right now, and we've talked about this in several of the episodes, it's super easy to really get into and dive into all the technology stuff in a negative way, to play a ridiculous amount of games, to watch a ton of videos, to like watch a bunch of movies and shows. Like, it's easy because the platform right now is there to do that. So it's so cool that you realized that and went like, all right, let me start reading and building up my knowledge. And the interesting thing is, when we think about that beforehand, like if I told you 3 months ago, like, hey, pick up a book, you're gonna love it, you'd be like, I don't think so, right? Like, no. But now once you've done it, it's crazy. Your mindset changes, and all of a sudden you go, this is exciting. This is something that I'm growing in, and you feel better. You feel better as a person because your knowledge is growing, and like you said, your eyes aren't red anymore. Like there's this thing where you're not watching something, instead you're being active and doing. You're strengthening yourself during this time instead of just staying stagnant and or going downhill. Right?
Yeah.
Super cool. So you were going to tell me a little bit about your dog walking. Tell me about that.
So during the I was playing video games all day, I was currently at school when school was still in session, like an actual school. So I didn't realize how it felt to be stuck in the house all day. And so we only took the dogs out at night, like maybe only 3 times a week. So after I started reading books and then we got stuck in our house, I realized how terrible it feels to be stuck in a house. And I am a person who needs to get out of the house or I will go nuts. So I realized I felt the dog's pain and I realized I need to get out of the house and do something. So I walk the dogs and I really like it. We don't have the house very much because there's nowhere to go. So I think going outside and just walking dogs with you is a great thing. You walk 2 miles a day, sometimes 4. It's just great to get outside and see the world. Yeah.
No, that's super cool. What's amazing that you said in there that I think everybody can learn from right now is that with the dogs, before you didn't realize what it felt like
Yeah.
to be in the place that they were in, to be stuck in that way. And I think in life, it can be very easy to look at somebody or look at a situation and not put yourself in their situation and make assumptions about maybe where they're at or why they're at a certain place. And I know that's not exactly what we were talking about with the dogs, but you really inspired me here. It's about without knowing what someone's going through, assuming the best and coming at whatever you're doing with love. So yes, and now that you are armed with that knowledge, from now on, even when quarantine's over, even when lockdown's over, it's going to be really easy to forget about the dogs again because you're going to be back in the habits of life, and all of a sudden they're not going to be your reason for going out. But if you can remember, oh man, like, hey, that meant a lot. I really enjoyed those walks and it was not only good for me and my relationship, but for the dogs and I love my dogs, right? So you do that with any session in life when we get back to regular life and you look at somebody and somebody hurts you or makes you upset. And instead of you taking that on and being affected by it and hurt by it, you automatically assume something's going on in their life that you don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did it with dogs. Now you get it. You're like, get me out of this house.
I understand how the dogs feel now. So I'm like, gotta take them out now.
So you say you're a people person, like it's been tough being indoors. Tell me about that. What's that look like for you?
Well, I have a lot of friends, I would say, a couple close ones, but a lot of friends. So when school got shut down, I get to see them maybe 3 times a day on a 30-minute live stream or meeting every day. So I feel like I don't really have a lot of people to talk to because I'm in my homework a lot and I just have the door closed and just shut everyone out because I'm focusing on homework. So I feel like getting out is good because I talk to myself sometimes because, I'm not ashamed of it. I need people to talk to.
I do it all the time.
Yeah. And I can't wait till school gets back in because the first thing I will do is talk to myself. Never stop, probably get in trouble for it. I would just so many stories to tell, and I love my family. I can talk to them. Like we had a scavenger hunt that my brother planned, and it was amazing. He planned it out, and we got to socialize, and it was just as good as being at school because we had so much talking and fun together. And I really hope we get to do that again because I just love socializing with people, like, even if it's a stranger. So love making new friends.
Tell me about the Zoom and like so you said you get on with your friends once a day. Is that for school or are you doing that outside of school through the Zoom to like hang out with them?
It's for school, but one time on last Monday, my friend, she said she needed to talk to a human being, which I thought was pretty funny. So yeah. She said she needed to FaceTime or talk to someone. So I said, sure, I can do it. And we were talking for 3 hours. And I loved
that. Oh, that is so cool.
It was very interesting. We talked about how the beautiful chalk masterpieces, chalk on the sidewalks, so many of those, how much we love our pets, just like general. I was taking a walk while we were doing it, so it's pretty nice.
So
three
here's the
hours.
cool thing, and here's what I'd like you and challenge you to do. Okay. So you're a driven person. And especially recently, you and I had a talk several months ago in class, and we're going to get into some of this, where you talked about the habits you've been starting to form
Mhm.
and the consistency and all that. We're going to get to that later. But with that, here's the curse of the person who works super hard, the workaholic, if you will. I don't even like calling it that, but somebody who works really hard is driven. You have to be really cautious and careful about making sure to put in that social time, and especially right now when it's not the way that we're normally like used to. You have to find a way. So it's interesting, schools are doing this because they need to make sure that you stay educated, because that's their job and they want to make sure that that happens. So they found a way to get online. Well, why is socializing, why is interactions with other human beings outside of school in a positive manner, why is that any different than the importance of learning in school? It shouldn't be. So, what I would encourage you to do is, just like you're having your daily habits, just like you're doing your school, and by the way, I love that you shut off the world and study down. Like you go, all right, I'm shutting my door. Nothing else is going to happen.
Yeah.
That is REM productivity. That is super focus. Matt talks about that a lot. It's where I basically gear in and say, for this amount of time, nothing else is happening but homework or but this. So I would challenge you to do the same level of focus productivity, but with friendship, with socializing through a Zoom app, through FaceTime. So you pick, it could be the same person or it could be different groups, like every day, non negotiable. You decide, I'm going to interact with another human being online.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do that. And here's the cool thing, you're not only going to be affecting yourself and helping yourself, you will be helping them.
Yeah, it also just feels good to talk to someone, right?
Totally.
Social is
And
great.
they probably feel the same way. They're probably sitting at home and they're going, man, I wish I had someone to talk to. And then boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop. And then it's like, oh, cool. And then they get to talk to you, you know? So make that a priority, the way that you're making school a priority and all these other things. And I would encourage anyone who's not doing that to do the same, because you are blessed with technology.
Oh,
Totally blessed with technology. If this same thing happened 15 years ago, it looks totally different.
yeah.
It looks totally different and would be an extremely different challenge. But you guys are blessed with the ability to literally see each other's faces
I
every
know,
single
we
day.
are.
So jump into that. That's my challenge to you. Okay. Is to
Yeah.
every day schedule it in however you want to. Doesn't need to be the same time. And later in class, I want to hear about how that's going.
Okay.
Okay,
Over.
cool. So I know you have a couple other questions. Why don't you jump into one of your other questions and we can go from there.
Yeah. So this is one more based off of acting wise.
Okay.
So if you have a couple of monologues you've memorized and you perform them with emotion every day, and you do that every day, but I feel like I've been doing that, and it just kind of gets the same. Like I start gradually doing the same kind of beats and just make it a habit of doing it the exact same way. I'm trying to change it the best I can. I think it's working a little bit, but
Okay.
I just want to know some suggestions on how to change beats and get out of that habit, if you will, of that.
Awesome. So I have a couple answers for that. The first one is going to be for life and acting. The first one's going to be for anybody listening, no matter what, whether you're an actor or not. So an actor's job is to connect to the character and make them believable to us as an audience, to help us connect to them. Because similar to what we're trying to do with this show, everybody has a story. And there are people out there who will gravitate towards different stories that relate to them. So I may watch a movie and be like, oh, I really felt that, man. That really, really hit me. Wow. And you may watch the same movie and be like, yeah, it was good. And then reverse, a different movie, it may be you going like that and me going, yeah, it was good. Well, it's because in the first one, there was a moment where the character and their dad had this really emotional thing where the dad came into the son's life for the first time, and that's something I've experienced, for example. And so for me, because of my history and my emotions, I connected this movie differently than somebody else. So with that, we as actors, the best thing we can be doing is be studying and becoming a student of emotion.
Oh
So what
yeah.
I would encourage you to do is every day I would be picking up your computer and search emotion words, emotion verbs specifically. So these are action emotions. So if I want to make you feel a certain way, I'm sending this emotion to you. So to hurt technically speaks into a type of emotion that I'm sending your way, and there'll be something underneath that. So if you can study the different intentions that you're sending out from an emotion, you're going to understand and have a better emotional vocabulary. But if you don't expand your vocabulary, you will
Mhm.
not be able to go anywhere outside of the emotions you've already experienced, understood, or learned, really. So if you think about it outside of acting to like a totally different example, as a motivational speaker, let's say, one day I want to go out and I want to travel the whole world. Well, what's one way that I could really set myself up for success in that way would be to learn other languages, because people have done that. You can go somewhere else and everyone there will now understand and relate to you better than if I'm speaking in English and I have a translator. That's cool too. But when I can speak in their language, they'll get it. So, in the same way, when you learn and expand your emotional vocabulary, you're going to have more words and emotions to go to change to inside of your monologue that might affect someone in a different way, that might get the intention across you're trying to get out versus like upset and happy and sad and scared. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would start studying those, then start filling some of them in and trying them. So that's the exercise of that. Then within the piece itself, and this is a actor exercise, this is called getting the junk out. So I would honestly do a version like this every day for where you're at, because you're trying different things and experimenting. Do
Mhm.
different ways of doing it that are totally outside the box. Totally outside the box. So one might be a physical version in which every part of your script, you have to do something physical. You have to. So what's the first line?
And one of them, my hair is ruining my life.
What is it?
My hair is ruining my life.
My hair is, so in that one, you might have to go, my hair is ruining my life. And like whatever.
Yeah.
Physicalize every single word throughout a piece. That's an exercise you can do. Another version is just every time getting the junk out. A different version of that is you have to perform it in a different type of way. You pick different emotions and you just change it up in a big way. So like think 10 times what you would normally do, not in a way you would perform it, but just to find and discover new moments that you didn't even know were in there. Like if I had to overly express it vocally because somebody wouldn't understand me unless I did, overact it, what would that look like? And then you'll make little discoveries that then you can bring back to your more emotional one once you've combined studying emotion with scoring the script and doing these crazy reads. Then you'll pull some cool moments that you will do naturally inside of the piece.
Okay.
Cool. So I would start there and we'll see what that does for you.
All right. I think that'll help a lot, actually.
Nice. What's your next question?
Okay. So while we are stuck in this house, I feel like I'm doing all the habits still. Like I'm practicing monologues every day and seeing how fast I can do it, writing, all that. But I feel like I'm not doing enough. And if we can't get out of the house, I just feel like there's not as much we can do. So is there any like activities or exercises, not just acting, but just generally to keep us motivated, just to keep us busy?
There
It can be acting
definitely
too.
are. Definitely are. So first, we need to know what you're doing. And this is for everybody. No two people are alike. No two homes are alike. Maybe similar, but different. So it's all about what you're already doing first, what you want to achieve. And then within that, we can then figure out what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, but it will not be different. It will not be the same for everyone. So to honestly get to the core of this answer, I need to frame it by knowing from you what you are doing already. And for everyone watching, I would go back and I go, okay, in my life right now, what am I doing and what am I not doing? Let me make a list and then from there decide what I need to do based on this next part we're going to do. So right now, what are you doing to motivate yourself and to keep things going?
Well, first of all, walking the dogs and reading, like you
Mhm.
said. I am practicing tongue twisters, just like 6 of them, each one 10 times, just to.
Give me one of them right now, just for fun.
I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I wish to wash
And
my Irish wristwatch. Wristwatch. Man, that's a tough
wristwatch.
one. That's a
Wristwatch.
tough. Cool. All right, keep going. I just had to try it.
Wait, you want me to give you another one, or you?
No, you can go into the next thing now. So you've done
Okay.
tongue twister. Yeah.
And I practice. I'm currently have 3 monologues memorized, so I'm
Okay.
practicing those with emotion every day, just once, and seeing how fast I can recite them for 10 minutes. I am writing every day. I go on a site and practice random cold reads. I do 3 of them a day, just random. I don't even look at the title. I just click it, no matter how long it is. And I read 20 minutes out loud and 20 minutes my brain, but I always read more than that. So that's just the base of what I do. Yeah.
So
I
it
just feel like I'm
sounds
not.
you
Huh?
feel what? Sorry.
Hmm?
Say that again. You feel like what?
I feel like I'm not doing enough, like to
Okay.
get better exceedingly. Yeah.
What makes you feel that way?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm not doing enough, but sometimes TV can distract me, and I really do want to get better and just to be willing to do more. But I feel like I don't have those activities I can do to do more. Like I don't know what else to do to get better.
Okay. So how much TV are you watching?
Like 2 hours, 3 hours a day. Depends on the
2, 3, 5, 7. No, just kidding.
3, 5,
Um,
7.
yeah. So I think it's about so you have the time, is that right? You have the
Yeah,
time,
I
you're
do.
just not sure what to do with the time.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. Well, let me start with this. Sounds like you're doing a lot of really great stuff already. So I think a lot of people can learn from just watching this and hearing, man, doing cold reads every day, boom, such a simple thing to do. Do it. Um, picking up a monologue and practicing it, do it. Memorize 3, great. So like continuing that work is awesome. So more things you can do, which is awesome because you're already doing so much. Way to go. There's so many things. So I'll give you just a few. Okay. Have
Okay.
you dabbled in any improv yet?
Ooh, no, I have not.
Okay, cool. So I would start to do that. And here's the deal. That's going to be really fun. So
Ooh.
you said earlier your brother, right, did a
Yep.
scavenger hunt with you.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun. It's fun when somebody takes us into a piece of their life and we get to experience joy by doing something that they created, that they're doing, and they're experiencing joy by doing that for us. So in the same way, you're going to grow right now by doing some of these improv exercises, but I would encourage you to grab your brother, grab your parents and go, "Hey, this is an improv game that Brian showed me. I would love it if we did this together."
Just
And
improv? Just
improv. And I'm going to give you a couple of them. I'm going to give you a few specific exercises that you could literally, and anybody could be doing at home with their family to be growing, both as an actor, emotionally, and as a family. Okay. So first one's real simple. This is just one that's going to get your brain going and get into creativity. It's called top 3. You can also do top 5 or top 10. So the way it works is you just give me a location. So give me a location.
Disneyland.
Disneyland. Okay. It's now my job to come up with the 5 or 3, 5, 10, depending, things that would be found at Disneyland. And then
Oh, I
you
love
count
that.
them off out loud. Yeah, absolutely. So you can do, so I might go Mickey Mouse, and then you would go 1, and you'd send that
Yeah,
out.
it's
Okay.
really great.
Yeah, and you go all the way through the numbers. So you can do the things that are there. You can also do the things that aren't. Like there's so many variations of this game, but it gets the creative mind flowing. It gets you quick,
Mhm.
keeps that witty thing going, and is so much fun as a family to just start listing things off and see what comes to people's minds. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's the first exercise. The second exercise that you guys can be doing together is an exercise that would lead to scenes. And I love doing scenes. I love really working on scenes at home with anybody, even if they don't do improv. Like you can basically be doing this thing, and it's called Who, What, Where. Okay. So every relationship, every writing, everything you've ever seen movie wise has a who, a what, and a where relationship behind it. So basically, a who is the relationship to each other. So I might go, you are my sister and I'm your brother. Okay. The what might be playing video games, like you said earlier. Okay. The where might be in the basement. And then we go 1, 2, 3. We all clap together. And then you guys do a little mini scene where you play those characters.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
So now you're starting a scene. You know who you are to each other. You know what's going on. You know where you are. And you just watch each other, learn from each other, and get to play.
Ooh, that actually does sound fun though. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, it's a total blast. Please do and share it. Share it with people. Share it with what they've got going on. So it's awesome. Okay, so next thing, last thing here with improv, and then we'll go to your last question.
Okay.
With improv, any exercise, and this is the cool part, is improv. If you're doing something like charades or stuff like that, that is improv. You don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing, and you're coming up with stuff on the spot. So when you're doing that without realizing it, Elena, you are working on your acting. It's crazy. You're literally working on your acting. Hi, Joey. We can see your face. You came into frame. What you need? No? Hi, Joe. Might as well come into frame. Hey, come over here. Everybody say hi to Joey. Oh,
Hi.
yeah. That's all. Just want to say hi. Joey's the man. Joey set all this up. He's a rock star. So cool. So yeah, so literally just keep working on it. And if you're looking for more things to do, reach out. Start with those things. If you start doing them, you're like, man, I'd love to do some more exercises. Like we're going to put out a video where we talk about some more things that you can be doing from home, but then also email in anytime. Send out an email, send us a direct message on Instagram, or comment on the YouTube section. As a matter of fact, I mean, if people want to comment on this YouTube section on questions on that, I'll give different exercises and ideas on what they can be doing. So yeah, cool. All right, last question. Let's jump over to the last one.
Okay, so my last question, it is also kind of based on acting, but it can just be generally, like whatever. So I know you already do it. I am writing it every day. We've already said it, but I remember you do saying that it make some of the most successful people write, and I just want to get more on that and how it does. Like, does it connection wise and getting to know yourself better? I just want to know how it makes you better, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's start again, going to you. So you have been, tell me about the habits that you've been doing. Tell the audience about the habits that you've been doing starting before this quarantine. It started before this, and what day you're on now.
Okay, so it was actually, I started the day on my acting class on Tuesday, and we went to Target, and I said, oh, I remember talking about we should journal every day and be really fun. So I remember going to Target and asking to get a notebook. Actually, I have it right here. It's just this. Every, like, you can see it, just like read a page every day. So I do that. I think yesterday was day 60. So today will be 61, and I'm doing it once a day. And I started practicing monologues and memorizing them since, let's say, December, maybe January. And it took me a while to memorize it. What I do to memorize it is I just read it 10 minutes per day. I just read it over, like all the way through 10 minutes, and I set a timer, and then I'm done. And then I do that for like 3 weeks, and it takes me a while, but I do memorize it that way, and it works for me. So I do that, practice 6
And
right
was
now.
this from the 10-minute conversation we had? Like doing a habit for 10 minutes? Because
Probably.
you said it was after acting class.
Yeah, it was probably that.
Because here's the thing. I want to, if it was, and even if it wasn't, but especially if it was, I want everyone to understand this because we're dropping a lot of knowledge. We're talking about a lot of life things that people can grow in, but it means nothing unless you decide to take action on it. So there have been so many times in class for both teens, kids, adults, and in so many other areas, speaking, where we've come in and gone, hey, here's something you can really do to grow, and gone and given it to that person. But then it's up to them to decide to go to Target, to pick up a journal, to go home, to make the decision to write every day. Like that's on the person. And so I want everybody to learn from this. You can soak up all the knowledge you want, but knowledge without action is empty.
Yeah.
So what's so cool is if it was from that class, or even if it wasn't for anybody hearing this, you have to decide what you want to do with the knowledge that you're receiving. And if you decide to take action on it, you will grow. So going into the journaling and how it helps certain people, I'll start first with how has it helped you? What has it done for you?
Oh, no one else reads it, so it's kind of like a diary. So I just pull my heart out on it. Just it gives me a chance to talk about anything I want and not be judged. It's like talking to your dog. It can't talk back at you.
Yeah.
Just execute and just listen. So it's really nice to have it actually. You just pour it on your feelings and no one can judge you every day. It's great.
So I'll add some extras on top of that.
Okay.
But really, the answer is depending on the person. But for you right now, and anyone really, when you journal and you go through and you talk about things and you get really emotional and honest, you are getting that stuff out. You're putting it out. Instead of holding it in, you're sitting down at a table and you're literally writing out the things that you're experiencing from that day, reflecting on them, thinking on them, and without even realizing it. And this is where the success factor comes in. Because you're releasing those, A, you're going to be more joyful and you're not going to be holding on to all these negative emotions that were sitting there inside of you. And B, you're going to keep reading, and the next day you're going to grow from the lessons you learned the day before. Whatever lesson it is you wrote in your journal that you happen to learn from that day, whether it be going on a walk and just noticing the flowers and realizing, wow, how beautiful were they, and writing about that, you will then remember and realize to see the beautiful, nice, powerful things that are just there every day that you don't see. Another day, maybe you go in and you try something and you fail at it. You fail at it and that was a struggle and it was hard, but then you get to the end and it felt really good and you write about how that felt getting to the end and the frustration. And the next time you thinking about not doing something because it's going to be challenging, you remember, oh yeah, that was so cool when I got to the end and so powerful. And you're more inspired to do it. And you'll learn from all of the things that you failed in, and learn from all the blessings that you saw and experienced. And then also down the line, there's nothing more powerful than looking back at the older version of yourself and seeing the growth that's happened. It's super encouraging. Super encouraging. So imagine yourself 5 years from now looking back and reading the journal entries from this experience and what that's going to feel like and what that's going to do for you. So from the success mindset and the people who are the most successful in the world, it helps them to see the failures and learn from them and get better every day. It helps them get out their emotions so that they can grow and be in the best state of mind possible. And then third, it does whatever it needs to do for them.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Actually does. Like,
Absolutely.
You don't have any of those negative feelings. You just write it out.
Mm-hmm.
And It was great.
Yeah, I believe it was, and I can't remember who. I think it was Abraham Lincoln used to write letters to somebody when he was mad at them in the moment, and he'd write it all out, and he'd write out what he was feeling. And the next day, if he read through it again and it all still felt right when he wasn't in a heated state, then he'd send it. If it was something that was important, needed to be said, and it wasn't just something that would have been sent in anger, he does it the next day. So there's something to getting it out, because sometimes we just need to get it out. Sometimes we're experiencing and thinking and going through something, and it's not necessarily something that we even want to attack someone with in a negative way, but we just have to get it out. And by doing this journaling, you're emotionally clearing a lot of that and strengthening your spirit and your whole personality.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
It was pretty great.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate you. I'm so thankful that you came on today. And I know that a lot of people are going to learn from the things that you have presented. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm super excited to have you in our online acting class this week on Tuesday. It's going to be so cool, and super grateful for you both as a student and as a person. Keep journaling, keep growing. Thank you so much for being such an encouragement to so many others out there.
You're welcome, man. I love it. Feels good to just talk about it, you know? It's just
Thank you. That's the
Yeah.
hope.
yeah.
That is the hope.
Sure.
So please share this out. Keep showing people, because the goal of this entire show is to help more people experience that, feel that, and find ways to connect with each other and with others during this time where it can feel like we're stuck, we're alone, we're literally locked in.
Mhm.
But there are so many ways to still connect to people, and we want to help people do that.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Goals. Okay,
Woo.
thank you so much. I appreciate you, and
Okay.
please join us tomorrow. Woo!
I will. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Teen Quarantine. We learned some really, really great lessons today. Just to wrap it all up, number one, we talked a lot about journaling and just the importance of that, what we can do there, connecting socially. We're used to that. We're so used to our social connections. And just because we aren't physically able to be in the same room as each other doesn't mean that we can't connect. You can feel the connections from the other people around you if you just let yourself be truthful. And so there's some great nugget moments in here. We'll be back again tomorrow. Always, every day, 2:00, Teen Quarantine. Join us, text us in your questions, and we would love to have you on the show and help you with whatever you're going through. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.